Hello, thanks for joining me on another video. If you're enjoying the videos that we're putting out, particularly on our little early T5, then please do subscribe to us, and that'll enable us to then just keep on going, doing some more, bringing you sort of like little updates about the van and as we're going on. So today's little update is we're going to have to deal with this headlining because it is really letting the van down, isn't it? So this is quite typical of what you'll probably see on an older van, higher mileage van. So all the T5s, even T5.1s, not yet see them on T6s. I don't think they're old enough. What's happening is the glue is degrading, the headliner is sagging. This affects everything. This is not a T5 fault, you know. There's lots of manufacturers where the headliner gets a little bit saggy, and that's just age, glues, plastics, everything degrades over time. Let's show you what the headliner's like in the van, and today I'm going to retrim it. So let's have a look inside and see what we've got. Here we go. So the usual, look, it's all peeling off from here. It's starting to get pretty saggy around the light, you know, starting to drop down. It's also pretty dirty as well, you know, 220,000 miles of use, and you know, it's starting to feel it. As you can see here, I'll just move my hand so you can see, yeah, it's definitely, it's coming away. I had to quickly stick it back up for our little jaunt out into Wales because the hull of the driver's side had completely sort of fell down, so I just quickly put a little bit of glue on the inside there and tacked it back up again. But I'm going to remove this. Let's take it all out. Let's see what we can do. We've done the rear of it in anthracite carpet, so I will probably do that. It's nice and easy, so and it'll tidy it up a treat. So let's start the strip down process. First things first, we've got quite a few bits that are broken that have just came off the van, so probably been over tightened in the past, so we're going to fix them. Bit of super glue, keep them together, maybe a bit of epoxy resin if that's not strong enough, but normally, you know, super glue will keep them in place. Use a quick setting agent with it as well, so then you can get it in position, give it a little spray with a quick setter, and then they'll be stuck. And then you can run a little bit of epoxy down the edges of that just to strengthen it up a bit. But we're definitely going to want to repair this because both of the little tabs on the top there are missing the bits where it actually attaches to the top of the van. So that was all in there. They fell out at the same time as I done the screws, so yeah, not a major disaster. This is sort of come unstuck. It should be part of the headliner. We'll glue that back in as well, so get these glued and then we'll start the strip down of the headliner. So I just use these ones from Zap. It's easy little normal super glue, sort of medium thickness, and then this like kicker, which is like an activator. So that just means that it sets straight away. So some of the plastics don't actually super glue that well. So if you use the kicker, that just holds it together really quickly. So that's a really good little tip. But what I'm probably going to do is just wait for these to set, put them out of the way, and then run a little bit of epoxy in the webs, just to sort of keep that nice and strong. But I think for now, as you can see, that's back where it needs to be. So we'll just fill the inside edges just with a bit of epoxy or an araldite type glue, and that's that sorted. So here's the headliner, looking particularly minging. Yeah, that's pretty nasty, isn't it? So I'll be really pleased when we get rid of that. When you strip these down, particularly if you've got to take the fabric cover of it off, I'd probably wear a mask, because there's going to be some old nasty chip and glue and stuff in there, and because they are like made out of a fibre, they're not quite fiberglass, but they are like got like a fiberglass type shell to them. You definitely want to be wearing some gloves. So a pair of latex gloves will just stop all those little fibres from getting into your fingers. Just be careful with them. They do like to disintegrate, so let's get suited and get this manky cover off. Well, that came off a lot quicker than what I thought it was going to. It almost fell off really. Let's get this cleaned up. I think we're going to have to use the hoover on that. That's pretty horrible. So this is the bit you probably don't want to breathe in. It's probably got 20 years of dust and disintegration, and this is actually probably the scrim backing for the material that we've just removed. So this would have originally been stuck to that material onto this shell. So yeah, let's get the hoover on that, I think. So a couple of pairs of gloves later and some adhesive softener, you should hopefully end up with something a little bit like this. So we've still got a little bit on there, but I'm pretty happy with that because I'm going to carpet it. Now, if you were going to suede line this, because the suede is so much thinner, you're definitely going to have to go and, you know, really make sure that there's nothing left on it. So you're going to have to keep going for a little while longer. Carpet is a little bit more forgiving, but be careful with these fiberglass shells. You can easily damage the corners, and then it's going to spoil the way that it fits into the van. So yeah, just make sure they all stay nice and complete. So there we go. First stage completed. Like I said, a couple of gloves later, because you are going to have to put some effort into it, and perhaps some adhesive softener. I think we've benefited from the fact that this headliner was pretty old, so it came off pretty easily and it left that backing behind, which is good. If you've got a new headliner or a relatively new van and you want to do this to it, I would keep the cloth on there. If there's nothing wrong with your cloth but you still fancy retrimming it, don't take it off, because it's just going to give you a massive headache. When they're old like this and they're starting to sag, that's the time when you want to rip it all off and get it down to the fiberglass like this. Okay, so the next thing is that you're going to need to get a piece of carpet ready that's a little bit bigger than what the headliner is. So generally the carpet will come on like a 2 meter roll, so you're going to probably need about 1 meter of that, maybe slightly more. So what I've done is I've cut one out, just put it underneath the headliner on the bench with a little bit of overlap around the edges, and we'll prep and glue the headliner, move that out of the way, and then we'll glue the carpet and flick it round onto the top of it. Now you can do this with aerosols. There's loads of aerosols that are on the market, isn't there? You know, Transporter HQ do some really good high temperature adhesives. You will definitely need a high temperature adhesive to do this. Don't think about using any of the other sort of contact adhesives. You want a high temperature adhesive for the headliner because it's very curvy. It's got a lot of curves going in different directions around where the handles are on the side of the roof and around where that console is that sits above you, you know, where your rear view mirror would be. So you've got quite a few contours going around there. So you definitely want high temperature adhesive. We use a bigger can, but it's the same stuff, just a larger volume to what you can get in an aerosol. Like I say, the aerosols are pretty good. So you can, Harrison, Transporter HQ, Just Campers, all the usual suspects do a pack of like aerosol cans. You're probably going to want at least one, maybe two aerosols to do this job. If you've bought some already to do the rest of your carpet lining, in a typical van, you're going to use a box of them. So you want to buy 12. It'll not only work out cheaper to buy them in more, you know, greater quantity, and then you might have a little bit left enough to do the headliner as well. If not, you want a couple to put that. I'd put at least one aside for doing the headliner. If you're going to do the rest of the roof at the same time, you're probably going to want 4 to 6, depending on what sort of van you've got and the intricacies of what you're carpeting. But don't go too mad with it. You can, you know, just put it on lightly, but you just want to make sure that the surface is covered, and particularly get into those curves. So like I said, where these bits have got, as you see on the headliner here, you want to be in there with glue. You know, you don't want to skimp on these bits. You want that to stay still. What you don't want is the headliner sagging only just after you've fitted it, you know, so you get one warm day and then that's going to want to start coming off. So make sure you put a decent amount of glue in those areas and really feed the carpet into that to get it to stretch in. Same with suede. You've got to be careful with suede that you don't over glue it. What I mean by that is if you dump loads of glue onto the suede, the glue will bleed through it. So make sure you put a layer of glue lightly onto the suede and then put more glue on top of that when it's gone off and gone tacky or slightly dry. Then you can start gluing the glue, so to speak. But don't go too heavy on the material. The same will go for carpet. If you go really mega heavy on it, you can get the glue to bleed through the carpet, but it's just not as likely because it's thicker than what the suede is. But yeah, you definitely want to be nice light layers to start with, then you can go on a bit heavier if you really need to, but don't have great big clumpy areas. You just want to make sure the glue just gets into all those corners and crevices. So let's start getting some glue onto that now. Another important thing about the gluing, you've got to remember it's a contact adhesive. So let it go off. It sticks on contact to the other layer. So let that dry now, leave that a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. Both sides have just been done. Like I said, I like gluing the thing that we're gonna glue first, and we'll put that on top of the carpet. So then not only have you got a bit of an area where if the glue sort of like splatters or oversprays, which generally they do when they first start in the gun or an aerosol, they'll like have a little spurt even when you clean the nozzle. So you've got your piece of carpet or suede that you're gonna glue onto, and then you've got the item that you're gonna glue to that. So glue that sitting on top of your carpet and then remove that, put that out of the way somewhere safe to dry, and then you've got your carpet underneath, and then glue that, and then when you're ready you can get your item back again, put that on the top, flip the whole thing back over, and then start working it into the corners. But let's get the kettle on, wait for these to go a bit more tacky, and then we'll put the two together. here we go. So, like I said, the most important areas are just getting the carpet into these curves. So particularly around where your little console is in the middle there, and then going around where your sun visors are, pushing that into those bits, all around there, where the sunglasses holder would be, or the additional grab rail. And where that grab rail is as well, just feeding the carpet into there. Yeah, nice. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Let's get it back in the van. So here it is, all done, back in the van. Took the opportunity to do a little bit of cleaning while I was there as well, and I'd highly recommend that, especially on stuff of this age. You know, they are getting on a little bit, full of dust and grime behind the panels. That all adds to, you know, that aroma that sometimes you can get from an older vehicle. So if you can, you know, basically you don't want to polish the inside of the van or inside of the, you know, the panels, but you do want to get rid of that grime from there. So give it a bit of a spray with a detergent and just give it a good wipe down. All of the panels that I took off today were pretty grimy behind there. You know, it's 20 years of dust and, you know, just accumulation of air pollution that's just trapped behind those panels. And being plastic, they're quite static, so therefore it does attract a few bits and bobs. So clean them when you take it all off, well worth doing. I'm now going to spin the camera around, but you can probably just see over my shoulder, it's looking really nice. Certainly has transformed the look of the van from the old crusty panel that we had that was all pretty manky and falling apart. And also I wanted to show you the rest of the van that we've done as well. So since we've had it, obviously we used it the other weekend for Jack to go away in, and so we could have a little bit more of a comfortable stay. We spent a good 24 hours before he left just tidying the whole thing up and carpet lining it, insulating it, and with our friends from VanShades, they pulled it out of the bag and rushed us a set of blinds over so we could at least have a little bit of blackout. So we put some front blinds in the van, and with that, rear blinds on the doors and the rear tailgate, then that meant that Jack could have quite a comfortable night's sleep. But we've taken the furniture out of it now so you can see it. So I'll spin the camera around. Let's take a look. Here we are, and doesn't that look better? So we've done it in anthracite, and I think that looks pretty nice. So keeping the plastics the same colour. I was going to take the A-pillars off and do those, but I really do think that it's probably better just leaving them. So I quite like that as it is. I think that's pretty nice. It's worked out really lovely. You see, it's all tucked up into the corners. I fixed the little tray that was there, you know, your sunglasses holder, ticket holder, whatever you want to call it, up in that little spot. So, you know, all the clips now are present and correct and all glued back into position. So that's really nice. That has certainly changed it. So going through to the back of the van, I've continued the anthracite all the way along. So you can see it's going all the way through the van. And then we've put black carpet on the van with the exception of the rear panel. That was carpeted when we got it. We just didn't have time to swap it over, and it had a couple of speakers in it, so we just left it. That will get ripped out. Those speakers aren't great, so we'll probably end up replacing them for something a little bit better. And we'll also match the black for that. So, but for now, yeah, really pleased with how that's come along. VanShades, what can we say? They're just brilliant, aren't they? You know, such a nice fitted little thing. We didn't bother carpeting them this time, so I wasn't sure what colour we was going to do the carpet until the last minute, and then we was like, oh no, let's do it in black. So I didn't want to give the guys too hard a task, and besides, it then made it so that they could just get us a set of blinds out super quick. So we've gone for fern because it's not a colour that we've used before. We've had a lot of the VanShades colours over the last couple of years and love all of them, but this one we've never used in a van. So I was just like, I've been waiting for somebody to pick it. I actually quite like it. So yeah, I thought let's do fern in there, and we'll then find some other bits and bobs to match. So I think they're great. Don't they look good? And I think the fact that they're just the black plastic, I think, you know, that's quite a nice finish anyway.
and it matches the black that we've got in here.
Look at the difference, that's made absolutely brilliant. So thanks for watching, and if you're going to have a go at carpeting your headliner, just follow those nice little easy tips, give yourself a little bit of time, and you can get rid of that, you know, horrible old saggy headliner that you might have in your van. So absolute result, really loving that in here. So changes it completely, doesn't it? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hopefully some more how-tos, and definitely some more updates on the van. So good news on the way, I hope to share with you soon. So we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.